Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something you've all likely experienced but, well, probably never truly noticed. We are going to look at the completely secret, highly synchronized operational timings behind a flawless five-star hotel dining experience. Because when you sit down for a luxury meal, everything feels entirely effortless and relaxed, right? But behind the scenes, there is this invisible clockwork ticking away, guiding every single interaction. I am absolutely thrilled to share this with you, because once you actually see the structure behind the service, it completely changes how you appreciate the whole experience.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for the explainer today. First, we'll look at the guest's arrival. Then, the kitchen's countdown, pacing the perfect meal, and finally, the industry gold standard.
So, think back to the last time you were at a truly exceptional restaurant. Have you ever wondered why your water arrives so unbelievably fast? Or why the server always just seems to appear exactly when you need them without ever feeling intrusive? You might have just thought, wow, I have an incredibly intuitive waiter today. But today we're doing a full curtain reveal on the actual mechanics of what is really happening.
To do that, we are grounding our explainer in a genuinely fascinating source document. This is a benchmark blueprint for international luxury operations put together by M.S. Sutinmia, a five-star food and beverage supervisor. And what's cool is this isn't just a theoretical guide. It's the precise standard operating procedure used to train staff and coordinate kitchens at the absolute highest levels of hospitality. Basically, it's our roadmap to understanding the invisible timers running throughout your entire meal.
All right, Section 1, the guest's arrival, the first critical minutes.
Let's look at the immediate hustle that kicks off the absolute second a guest sits down at their table. A rapid-fire timeline begins immediately. The standard dictates an initial greeting within 30 seconds of seating. From there, water service absolutely must happen within 1 minute. A beverage order needs to be taken within 2 minutes, and then that beverage has to be served within 3 to 5 minutes. So while you're just settling into your chair and taking in the nice ambience, the staff is already hitting 4 distinct timed milestones just to ensure you feel instantly cared for.
And the anchor to all of this is the number 30. A strict 30-second initial greeting rule is shared across the world's megabrands. And it makes sense, right? In hospitality, a guest sitting unacknowledged for even a minute can feel like an absolute eternity. It completely sets a negative tone for the whole evening. By locking in a strict 30-second target, the restaurant guarantees that guests feel instantly welcomed, seen, and valued, way before the real dining even begins.
Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds, the kitchen's countdown, focusing on a la carte service times. So, behind the kitchen doors, it is a strict, high-stakes countdown. A cold starter, you've got a maximum of 10 minutes. Hot starter, 15 minutes. Soup, 10 to 12, and that main course is locked into a strict 20-minute target before dessert drops back down to 10 minutes. It is such a brilliant contrast. Out in the dining room, the guest is experiencing this relaxed, luxurious evening, but in the back of the house, it is literally a countdown to the minute for every single plate. Now, once the food is actually on the table, we encounter another vital metric, the number 2. The operational standard dictates a checkback within 2 minutes or after 2 bites. And this isn't arbitrary at all. It's actually a fascinating psychological insight into monitoring guest satisfaction. Think about it. 2 bites or 2 minutes is exactly enough time for a guest to realize if their steak is undercooked or the soup is cold. But crucially, it's early enough in the meal that the kitchen can still intervene and fix the problem. Before the guest angrily posts about it on Yelp.
And you know what? The clockwork continues even as the course ends. The standard states that finished plates must be cleared within 2 to 3 minutes, but, and this is crucial, only after all guests at the table have finished. This maintains a seamless, clean flow to the meal without making any slower eaters at the table feel rushed or pressured. It's basically precision timing perfectly disguised as polite observation.
Which brings us to Section 3, pacing the perfect meal. A look at the total dining duration.
And this brilliantly illustrates how the timeline naturally expands as the meal's complexity grows. If you're ordering a standard 2-course meal, the operational target duration is 45 to 60 minutes. Step up to a 3-course meal, and that target stretches out to 60 to 90 minutes. And for a full fine dining experience, the recommended duration peaks right at the 90 to 120-minute mark.
So the crucial point is the shift that happens when we move into true fine dining. While standard 2- or 3-course meals have these very strict operational turnaround targets, a 90 to 120-minute fine dining experience is explicitly labeled as a guest-controlled pace. At the absolute highest tier of luxury, the restaurant prioritizes the luxurious feeling of the experience over strict table turnover. The kitchen is definitely still hitting their internal timers, but the overall progression of the evening is entirely handed over to the rhythm of the guest. But even as we reach the end of the dining life cycle, that strict clockwork persists right through to 3 final steps. Step 1, the dessert menu has to be presented within 3 minutes of clearing the main course. Step 2, premium tea must be served within 3 minutes, or coffee within 5. And finally, Step 3, when you actually ask for the bill, it must be presented within 3 minutes of your request. They want to ensure that last impression is just as perfectly paced and prompt as that very first 30-second greeting.
Finally, Section 4, the industry gold standard, looking at universal benchmark references.
Just to wrap up our explainer, we really need to prove that these timings aren't just isolated to one, overly demanding restaurant manager. They're actually a universal language spanning the globe's biggest luxury brands. Our source document explicitly lists its benchmark references, and they include the Marriott International Restaurant Service Audit, the Hotel Blueprint a la carte SOP, the Safety Culture Dinner Service SOP, and the Lux Ops F&B Playbook. These operational targets are widely accepted across full-service properties from Hilton to Hyatt to IHG and Accor, meaning if you're sitting in a 5-star hotel restaurant in London, Tokyo, or New York, the staff is operating on this exact same synchronized playbook.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is it reveals the true motive behind all this data. Quote, "These figures represent professional operational targets for staff training, kitchen coordination, and guest satisfaction monitoring. That is the real purpose of all this data. It's not about stressing out the staff. It is a fully integrated system designed to keep the heavy machinery completely hidden from the dining room while mathematically guaranteeing your satisfaction." We've seen the strict 30-second greeting, that high-stakes 20-minute main course countdown, the 2-minute checkbacks, and the universal global standards that tie it all together. So I'm going to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. Next time you sit down at a 5-star restaurant, order your beverage and wait for your starter, will you hear the invisible clock ticking? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, Focused Learners, and I really hope this peek behind the curtain makes your next dining experience just a little bit more fascinating.